Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to the tennis world with the tennis expert. I am your tennis expert. Glad to have you with me, guys. I just want to review this final and let you know where we are at the GOAT debate at the present moment with Djokovic's latest Grand Slam victory. First, before I get into the video, I want to let you know I was at the final and I made two videos. One of me arriving just to see what it's like when you arrive and they check your ticket and all of that. Second one is after Djokovic won the final. I've got a just a small video of him with the trophy on the court. So I made those two videos while attending the 2023 Australian Open final. But Djokovic is your 2023 Australian Open champion, beating Stefanos Tsitsipas in straight sets. And yeah, 22 Grand Slams. So Djokovic wins 6-3, 7-6, 7-6. The final over Stefanos Tsitsipas. It's his 10th Australian Open. It's his 22nd Grand Slam. Federer's got 20 Grand Slams, Nadal 22, Djokovic 22, so we're all tied up at the top. What I would say about this match is, guys, right? Like, a lot of people say Djokovic played well, and he played well considering the injury, right? So he focused on what he was strong, like standing in the middle, attacking, hitting the ball, serving well, being aggressive, and feeling like that's all upper body stuff. I'm going to do it well, and actually improved on those things where the injury does not affect, and improved it more than he would have normally had, and just said, I'm just going to focus on these areas. The injury doesn't affect my game. So these areas I'm going to be great. So his forehand was great. His attacking game was great. His serve was great. But still, because of the leg injury, he wasn't moving on his normal level. And how he would usually beat someone like Tsitsipas is, guys, right? Um, Serve. I mean, the return serve. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. The return of serve, what he would usually do would be like get back Tsitsipas's serve, which he depends on a lot. Get Tsitsipas in a rally, move him around, and push him around and out rally Tsitsipas, right? And then when Tsitsipas is using his aggressive power game, use his speed and make Tsitsipas hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots to get past his speed and his defense. But Djokovic didn't have that, so he couldn't be like, I'm going to get Tsitsipas in the long rallies. I'm going to run down his ball. I'm going to out rally him. My defense will be like a wall. He'll have to go for so much power on the line to get past me and make errors. And if he doesn't, I'll just push him around and out rally him. He couldn't do that because he had the speed. So really, it was just like Djokovic focusing on where he's strong, where the injury doesn't affect his serve, his attack, and his power game. What's Tsitsipas's best game? Serve, attack, and a power game. But that's Tsitsipas's game that he plays all the time. Djokovic is trying to invent a game to make up for an injury. So Tsitsipas plays that style of game better. Djokovic plays the speed, the defense, the long rally, the return of serve better than Tsitsipas. But Djokovic couldn't do that because of the injury, so he had to outpower Tsitsipas. When that Tsitsipas's game, not his, so he should have never won because of that, right? We also saw what the problem was with Tsitsipas is whenever he said, I'm going to move Djokovic around and win the point in 4, 5, 6, 7 shots and have Djokovic on the run, Djokovic's speed wasn't what it normally was. So all he had to do is be aggressive, but be aggressive from the perspective where I want to control the point, I want to control the rally, and I'm going to move Djokovic around and win it in 4 or 5 shots and expose Djokovic being slower due to the injury. And he should have just kept going with that over and over again. And because Djokovic's injury wasn't going to get better, he wasn't going to defend like he has 100% health. Keep doing what you're doing, keep doing what works till the opponent comes up with a response. And Djokovic wouldn't have come up with a response. And that is be aggressive, push Djokovic around, but don't try to win it in one shot. Hit it with power inside the court and move Djokovic left and right, get the ball shorter and shorter, and then you can finally finish off the point. With power, yet patience, and you're exposing Djokovic's lack of movement and the injury. And whenever he did that, it worked. And Djokovic had no answer. He should have said, I'm going to keep doing that until Djokovic finds an answer, which would mean him getting healthy during a match, which wouldn't happen. But instead, Tsitsipas goes away from that. And the two critical moments, the second set tiebreaker, right? He decides, I'm going to go for as much power as I can on the line and win the point in one shot. That's good whether it lands in or out for Djokovic because it's shortening the point, it's making it less physical, and it's meaning he doesn't run. So if half of them landed in for Tsitsipas and half out, then they're all short points where Djokovic doesn't make out, but he wins some, not others. But because the shot's such a low percentage, you have to hit the ball with a lot of power right on the line, the chances that it'll miss will be high. So then Djokovic is getting all these 3 points where he doesn't have to put much effort in, right? And why do that when the guy doesn't want to be in long grinding rallies, he doesn't want to move? What you do is you make it a long rally where you're in control of. Yeah, you make it a long rally where you're in control of the rally, right, guys? And you move the guy left to right, side to side. You're aggressive to control the rally, to be pushing the other guy around, but you're patient that you can wait 4 or 5 shots to hit the winner. Left, right, moving the other guy around until you got the easy shot to finish off the point. That worked. If you did that the whole game, Djokovic would have never had an answer. The ball was on his racket. But for some reason, he says, what's working, I don't want to do anymore. I just want to hit a winner off the first shot, and I'm going to go for the line, and the chances of that landing in is very high. So he did that. He went for too much power, too close to the line, didn't test out Djokovic's legs, didn't have Djokovic running, didn't have Djokovic in long rallies, just said, I'm going for the power. And I'm going for it right on the line. Sorry guys, really my battery's going to be dead, so I thought I had lots of battery. So just give me 20 seconds, right back. Sorry about that, guys. I'm right here. Let me just plug it in. So, guys, what I was saying, let's just get back to Tsitsipas's. Let's just get back to Tsitsipas's tactics, right? So what I was saying was, all he had to do is keep pushing Djokovic around, move him left to right, side to side, get more control of the point, and just win it. And then every time Djokovic is going to have to run, put all his effort, hurt his legs, and just to lose the point, and then he's in a worse shape and more pain for the next point. If Djokovic wants a straight sets match where he's just serving big and attacking and shortening points, but a straight sets match where there's not many long rallies and he's moving, you're going to say, let's do the opposite. Let's make it a long physical grinding match with lots of long rallies where I'm aggressive and making him move around, but aggressive and patient, willing to win it in 4 or 5 shots. That's what he should have done. Whenever he did it, it worked, but then he just said, I'm going to go away from that. And I'm just going to say, act like Djokovic is 100% healthy, has amazing speed, and he's like a wall defensive, and I can't get past him. So I'm going to go for as much power as I can close to the line to try to get past Djokovic's defense. But the chances of that happening, it never works. So he went away from what worked and did that in tiebreakers. And because the chance of hitting the ball with so much power right on the line are low, he made a whole lot of errors and gave away the second and third set tiebreaker and played right into Djokovic's hand. Because prior to the second set tiebreaker, he was being aggressive but patient and making it rallies that he's in control of and moving Djokovic around Djokovic was in pain. Djokovic couldn't do it anymore. Djokovic was looking angry in his box. And there was nothing Djokovic could do with this. And he knew he had to win it in straight sets. And Djokovic was about to face a disaster, right? Where not only will we one set all, we're going to 4 or 5 sets of long grinding rallies. His leg and also his fitness are not going to stand up to it. So firstly, the fact that it's going 4 or 5 long rallies is something physically Djokovic can't do, right? That was one thing in the match. But then the second thing, going into that one set all, with this long match coming up, Tsitsipas had all the momentum to even go ahead and even put Djokovic in even further hole. That's where we were. And Djokovic knew that that was big trouble, being one set all, having to play 4 or 5 sets with pain in your leg, and then having it where Tsitsipas has all the momentum and all the confidence to go ahead of him. He knew that was a disaster. And all Tsitsipas needed to do is keep moving him around, have rallies, finish the rally in 4 or 5 shots with him being aggressive yet patient. But instead he said, no, I'm going to go for right on the line, try and end it in one shot. Made a whole bunch of errors, let Djokovic out of jail. Now Djokovic is up 2 sets to love. He's the one with all the confidence and momentum. He knows if I can just push through another 30 or 40 minutes, this can be all over. So I'm going to do it. And then suddenly Djokovic plays at a very high level to finish it because he knows I'm just going to throw everything, put up with whatever pain, and I'm just going to play at a high level and just ignore my body and just finish this off. And he was very confident, feeling great, not fearful of a long match with his leg because I've just got one more good set to end it and I'm confident right now. Tsitsipas did break Djokovic because that's what a bad state Djokovic was in that second set tiebreaker. That right after it, he played a terrible game and gave away his serve. And he actually didn't play well in the second set tiebreak. Tsitsipas wouldn't have needed to be amazing because Djokovic was physically breaking down. But instead, Tsitsipas was just worse than him, letting him get out of jail. And like I said, 2 sets to love, you've got a confident Djokovic. You've got Djokovic knowing, if I can just put up with pain for 30 or 40 minutes, I can win a Grand Slam. So Djokovic gets confident, gets feeling good, is not worried about the injury because if I can just do it for a short time, I can win this. And he plays great tennis. But at the start of the third set, what happened was Djokovic is still affected by the injury, gave away a break. So now Tsitsipas still can just hold serve, stay ahead in the break, push it into a 4th set. And now Djokovic's leg is going for at least 4 sets, again, maybe 5. It's a problem. Djokovic doesn't know if he can do it. And then Tsitsipas will have the confidence, not just going into the 4th set, but going into the 4th set with him winning the 3rd set, with him having all the confidence and him ready to win, and Djokovic having all the momentum against him. So there's that factor, and there's the other factor now. Djokovic has to play 4 or 5 sets, doesn't know if he can do it, but goes into that with Tsitsipas all the momentum of winning the 3rd. That Tsitsipas could have been very close if he won his 3rd. But again, he just makes a whole bunch of errors, lets Djokovic out of jail again, and then we go all the way to the tiebreaker. They both do well on serve. For some reason now, after 1-1, when Djokovic breaks back, Tsitsipas can play on serve, but when he was up 1-0, he couldn't. But we get to the tiebreaker, both guys are winning serve easy. Djokovic has lost the pressure that he'll have to have a long match. He's ahead, he's confident, I'm just going to finish it off. And just knowing that I can just deal with pain for a short period, he's feeling good and great. Tsitsipas is feeling like he's nervous to win. So when he's down 2 sets to love, he's got nothing to lose. He's also able to hold, but when he's up a break, he couldn't because he had a chance. But when it was 1-1 and there's no pressure, he could. But guess what happened? Both guys keep playing well. Both guys keep holding. We get to 6 games all. Then there's pressure again for Tsitsipas. He plays 5 bad points, goes down 5-love because he has a chance to win something. Then when it's 5-love, nothing to lose again, relaxes, wins like 5 of the next 6 points and makes it 6-5. But Djokovic just 1 point on his own serve to end it and uses the serve to start the rally ahead, pushes Tsitsipas around and finishes it off. And then Djokovic is your 2023 Australian Open champion, 10 Australian Opens, and 22 Grand Slams, tied with Rafael Nadal for most in history of the game. But like I said, this whole thing was on Tsitsipas's racket. All he needed to do was be aggressive, push Djokovic around, but patient with him in 4 or 5 shots. But the story of the match is second and third set tiebreakers, and the game when he was up a break, when he gave the service break back and allowed Djokovic to break back. That game plus the 2 tiebreakers, where Tsitsipas refused to build a point over 4 or 5 shots, move Djokovic around, and expose the leg. Where instead he just says, I'm going to shorten the points myself because I know you wanted a short point to save your leg. So I'm going to shorten the point, number 1, to save your leg. And number 2, I'm going to hit it out so you'll actually win the point without putting any effort. And I'm going to give you the second, third set tiebreaker. And then even when I get a break, I'm going to get nervous and I'm going to give you the break back. And that's what decided the point. The match was on Tsitsipas's racket. Tsitsipas blew it. And for me, it's an embarrassment to where tennis is at the moment and the whole next generation. Yes, we can say Djokovic did as good as anyone can do with his leg. The things that didn't affect the injury, he was wonderful at. His serve was as good as it's going to be, or it's ever been. His attacking game to control the rallies, hit winners, push the other guy around when you're standing in the middle and you're hitting it to you, that was amazing, better than it's ever been. But the fact is, if you move him around, and push him around, win the rally 5, 7 shots, there's nothing he can do because he can't cure the injury. And that's on your racket. You have that. But Tsitsipas refused to do it. Instead, he just wanted to hit the ball on the line, make errors when the pressure's on, and give the match away to an injured man, right? It shouldn't be where someone's injured they can win, right? Even if they're doing all of like these things that Djokovic did great, you can still move him around and expose the leg, and none of that matters, right? But the problem is we have such a mentally weak next generation that their level is so low that Djokovic can be half as what he would normally be and still win because they're just so bad and mentally weak. All it would take to beat Djokovic is 1, you need to just move him around. So they're basically saying, for me to make the ball land in on the court, I need to hit the ball the very center of the court, right to Djokovic to make sure it doesn't miss, because I'm just that bad. And if I try to actually not hit it in the very center of the court directed to Djokovic, anywhere towards the lines in any way, I'm so bad that shot's going to miss. And that's all they were capable of doing. And that Djokovic can be injured, can lose his movement, and can still win. Because this other next generation of people like Tsitsipas and Rublev are so bad, they can't even move him around in a rally. So for me, it's an embarrassment to where this next generation is. Like, there are many guys, I mean, it's all changing now. So firstly, you got Nadal, you got Djokovic, you got Medvedev all at a high level. And then you got people like Alcaraz and Rune coming through. They would never let Djokovic win an injury. But the fact is, this old next generation before Rune and Alcaraz, people like Tsitsipas, people like Rublev, who are mentally weak, right? They're such a disaster. And even when it comes to you just need to move a guy around to get a Grand Slam, they can't do it. So for them, the fact that someone can win injured, they've lost their movement, and yes, the things that they control, like their serve and their attacking game, they're doing great. But that alone will never be enough to win. You still need the other guy to collapse because you can't move where you normally did. Djokovic did nothing wrong. He can't control the injury. He did the best he could with what he had, which was great. But still, even with that, because of the injury, all you need to do is move him around consistently, and there's nothing he can do, despite his greatness. Despite the fact that he's attacking well and serving well, he doesn't have all the parts of his game there, right? But this next generation, it's an embarrassment. Because if they can't beat Djokovic now, he's going to rest, he's going to get his movement back to 100%. They'll have no chance whatsoever. And the fact is that they can't even move Djokovic around and capitalize on an injury. That's how bad they are. And in the biggest moments, like Tsitsipas, to just keep hitting the ball out and not move an injured guy around who's looking tired too, It's just ridiculous. I mean, so I think we've hit a whole all-time low. At least we could say Djokovic was beating these guys before, healthy, and they would collapse. Yes, Djokovic would play well, but you could maybe say it's just Djokovic. But now with he's injured and all they need to do is move him around, they can't even capitalize there. And I just think Djokovic did do great with the injury and did focus on the things that the injury are not affected, serve, attack, and all of that. But these guys still could have won despite all that. But they refused to move them around. They're too mentally weak. And the fact that Djokovic got away winning with this injury, despite that he did well with the injury, I think it's an embarrassment to tennis. It's an embarrassment to the next generation. And it should never have happened. But thankfully, we've got Rune and Alcaraz coming through, and they're got a great talent, and they're mentally strong, and they're willing to step up with people like Nadal and Djokovic and raise their game in big moments, not collapse. So that's a good news for tennis. So we've got them, and we're going to see a battle with them and Nadal and Djokovic and all of that. So I explained how Djokovic won it, that he did great with the injury, he did great with the attacking, the service game, and they should have exposed his movement. They didn't. That's not his fault that they collapsed. So he takes advantage and he wins the 22nd Grand Slam and the 10th Australian Open. So now let's look at finish this video with the GOAT debate and look at where we are now, right? 22 Grand Slams for Nadal, 22 Grand Slams for Djokovic, right? My view is like if you're tied at 22 Grand Slams, you can't get the winner of the GOAT debate from the Grand Slams, right? Olympics that are every 4 years are important, top 8 are important, but the top 8 World Tour finals, it's one tournament on one surface at one time of the year, right? So it's just about that. Who's good at that surface, that one tournament on one surface at one time of year. It's not like a Grand Slam, a Masters 1000, a 500, even a 250, where it's a whole grade of tournaments played throughout different months in the year on different surfaces, right? Yeah, it's not that, right? But Grand Slams are the most important, but we're tied 22-22, so we can't define a GOAT from the Grand Slam between Nadal and Djokovic. So because I'm saying the top 8 is the second most important, but it's one tournament on one surface, we just know who's better on that surface at that time of year, right? Olympics, same thing. Nadal's better at the Olympics, Djokovic at the top 8. So the next biggest category of tournaments after the Grand Slams is the Masters 1000. Djokovic has 2 more than Nadal. So just based on that, I'm going to give Djokovic the GOAT as of the moment, right? And then total tournaments, when you count all their wins together, I think it's like 93 to 92 to Djokovic. So that's another very important thing. So with them tied, I say 2 more Masters 1000 for Djokovic, 93 tournament wins for Djokovic, 92 for Nadal. Just by those few close facts, I say Djokovic is the GOAT for now. And Nadal needs to have the most Grand Slams to be GOAT. Djokovic just needs to tie because of the Masters 1000 and the total tournaments won, right? But if Nadal wins the French Open in a few months, he'll then be back GOAT again. So we're going to the French Open, a place that Nadal's won 14 times. If he wins it, he's the GOAT, and this Djokovic being GOAT is just a very temporary thing, right? So that's what I think about it. Djokovic is the GOAT for now. If Nadal wins the next Grand Slam, French Open, he'll be the GOAT. But we're tied at 22. We need to go to something else. Masters 1000, Djokovic 2 more. And then total tournaments 1, Djokovic has won 1 more. I'm not counting ranking systems. I'm looking at who's won what based on the results, and being my own guide for that. But because we're tied, has to go to something else. Masters 1000, the next most important category of tournament. It's not just one tournament a year, a whole lot of tournaments throughout the year on different surfaces. Djokovic is GOAT because he's got more Masters 1000, and secondary that he's got 1 more total tournament won than Nadal. But it's all to play for. So that only comes into play if they're tied. So if Nadal wins the French Open, none of that matters. Nadal's goat, right? Number two is the next Djokovic and Nadal should both miss Indian Wells in Miami. Nadal through injury, Djokovic through to the vaccine, right? So the next three Grand Masters of Thousands will be on clay. So Nadal is playing in this clay court season where he could have more Masters of Thousands than Djokovic. So even if they're tied, if Nadal wins Monte Carlo, Madrid, and Rome, he'll have more Masters of Thousands, and then they'll be tied in Grand Slams. So now with them tied in Grand Slams, the tiebreaker will be Masters of Thousands, and Nadal will have more. So Nadal would be GOAT despite them being tied if he wins these next three Masters of Thousands on clay, which he's the best player on clay. And then number two is, even if he doesn't do that, the next Grand Slams on clay at the French Open, if he wins that, he'll have 23, 22, and he'll be GOAT. These other issues only matter if we've got a tie in the Grand Slam race. But if Nadal wins the French Open, we won't have a tie. And then also the total tournaments won. He's got one more. There's like 2 months of clay court tournaments. So if Nadal wins one more than Djokovic, they're tied. 2 more, he's ahead. So again, Nadal has the most Grand Slams to play for this clay court season by winning the French Open and moving ahead, and the most Masters of Thousands to play for, with Djokovic 2 ahead. But the next 3 are going to be on clay, and Nadal has a chance to win them and have more Masters of Thousands and more Grand Slams than Djokovic. If he's got more of both, he'll be the clear GOAT, and that's all going to be decided this next coming clay court season. So I think Nadal will win the French Open for sure. I think he'll be the GOAT after the French Open. But between now and the next few months, Djokovic is going to be the GOAT because we're tied and he's ahead in Masters 1000 and total tournament won. So Djokovic is the GOAT for now. Nadal's favoured to get the GOAT back in this clay court season, which is between April and June this year, and definitely to win the French Open, and then nothing else will matter. Nadal will have 23 Grand Slams, Djokovic 22, Nadal will be GOAT. But as of right now, for the reasons I mentioned, Djokovic has capitalized on this tournament and has one injured and has tied the Grand Slams and has got one more tournament and 2 more Masters of 1000 than Nadal. So he's GOAT as of now. But Nadal has a chance to say, I'm 2 Masters of 1000s behind you. There's 3 coming up on clay. I can pass you a Masters of 1000. We're tied in Grand Slams. Next Grand Slams on clay. If I win that, I go ahead and have outright the most Grand Slams again. So Nadal favoured to get back the GOAT status in a few months, but as of today, Novak Djokovic is your GOAT. So that's where we are at the GOAT debate at this exact moment. That I've explained the Nadal Djokovic winning the Australian Open, how it happened, and all of that. So that's my full wrap up the GOAT debate, what happened in the Australian Open, where we are with everything. So that's my video for today, guys. That's the end of my Australian Open coverage. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up, and be here for my next video. I'm going to, firstly, I've made 2 videos about my experience at the Australian Open on this channel. Go look when I arrived at the Australian Open when Djokovic won the trophy. Look at those 2, but also be subscribed for that. Subscribe for my next video. I'm going to go into tactics of different matchups like Nadal and Djokovic until the big tennis tournaments come back. I'll definitely be previewing Indian Wells in mid-March. I might do Dubai and Acapulco in late February. And then the last point I forgot to mention on the GOAT debate was that before these clay court events, we do have 2 Masters of 1000 on hard court. But it looks like Nadal and Djokovic won't be playing due to injury and vaccines for Djokovic. So that's why I mentioned the clay is the next big thing. But yeah, that's the end of my coverage for the Australian Open. Subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Be back here for my next video. And thanks for watching, guys. And bye for now. I'll be with you for the whole year. I'll be previewing Indian Wells, Miami, clay season, Wimbledon. I'll be talking about tactics in the Nadal-Djokovic matchup. So much coming up. So subscribe, bell notification, thumbs up. Be back here for my next video. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and bye for now.